you're adding 3 to each side, right? You have 4 times x greater than 3, as you can see. Then you divide both sides by 4. Doing so, we get x on the left, right? Again, we're dividing by 4, a positive. So we don't flip the inequality. We get x is greater than 3 over 4. Well, this gives us the interval here. So this is the domain. So again, we had the square root of something, right? That something is 4x minus 3. So we want to know, when is that positive? And we only want positive because it's in the denominator. Okay? And that's what I'm doing here. We're solving this inequality, and we get this. And from here, we get this interval. Okay, so before we get to see other examples, what I want to do now are these kinds of examples here. This is really just some calculation. Notation also here is what we're working with as well. It's just that in the past, I've had students struggle with this. So if they're given f of x by an equation like this, what is f of something, f of this number or f of that number? So I just figured it wouldn't hurt to go through some examples here. That's all. So from here, okay, we have f of -2, okay, f of 3. We're calculating those, and we want some. All we're going to do, as you can probably see here already, is I'm going to take the x here, and for this, I'm replacing x by -2. That's all I'm doing here. I'm replacing x by -2. Now, this is a formula, okay? This tells us f of x, whatever x is, right? X is our input, is x squared plus 4 times that x, and then you subtract 7. That's what I'm doing here. So we're squaring -2, right? Adding 4 times -2, okay? And then we're subtracting 7. That's what I'm doing. So what -2 squared is 4. 4 times -2, that's -8. I guess really I could have written this as plus -8, but that's the same thing as subtraction. -7. And this turns out to be -11. So let me get that pen. So from here, we get that -2 under our wonderful function. Okay? -2 goes in, f of -2 comes out, right? As you can see, f of -2 we just calculated, that's equal to -11. All I'm doing. I know the notation does look a little intimidating. It's really not terrible, though. You just have to get used to it. F of 3, what is that equal to? Well, again, it's the same idea. I'm just replacing x by 3 now. So we replace x by 3. We get 3 squared plus 4 times 3 minus 7, as you can see. So from here, we get 3 squared is 9. 4 times 3 is 12. 9 plus 12 minus 7. And so from here, we get 21 minus 7, which is 14. And then we add these two outputs together, and that's what I'm doing. So we get 3. So negative 11 plus 14 is 3. Just write down that. So from the 3 part, we get 3. You can see under f, right? 3 goes into the function. What comes out is f of 3. And f of 3, we just calculated that to be 14. Hope that makes sense. So let's do another one like this. First, let me just stop recording. Okay. All right, so here's another example we're going to do now. We have negative x squared plus x. Again, what this is telling us to do, x is our input, right? So this is saying whatever your input is, right? You're going to negate its square, then you're adding the input. For f of 1 and f of 5, right? F of 1, this is saying we do negative 1 squared, okay? Then we add 1. That's what I'm doing. We have negative 1 squared, right? 1 is x plus 1. And we know that negative 1 squared is just negative 1, right? So we get plus negative 1 plus 1, which is 0. I put parentheses here because I'm illustrating that you're not squaring the negative. That's why there's parentheses here. 5, it's the same idea. Namely, we get negative 5 squared plus 5. Now, 5 squared, of course, is 25. So we get negative 25 plus 5. And of course, that's negative 20. But when we subtract, we're going to have this difference, 0 minus negative 20, but that's just 20. I wrote this in here just to help you remember that this here is actually the same as negative 1 times x squared, although I guess the 1 I really don't need, just negative. That's actually what I'm doing here. In other words, these two are not the same. I've seen students make this mistake. That's why I'm stating this again. So. Okay. All right. So we hit this one. This one I want people to try. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the recording. And then I'll wait 2 minutes, I think, to let you guys try this one out. Okay. So let's do that.